Welcome back to the Digital Designer series. In this video, I'd like to explore best practices for image search. And so I have a few things that I wanted to talk about with you regarding free images for commercial use. As a student, of course, we are on a limited budget. We don't have money for exploring images to pay for them. And so I wanted to give you some resources. We do not want to use anything that is copyright that might have us, when we put our portfolios online, to infringe upon copyright. And so this is the best practice. And what I teach my students, I don't allow anyone to do copyright imagery. So one of the things that we look for is public domain, which means that it belongs to us, the public, general public, and there is no copyright. Usually these are older photos. Another licensing to look for is Creative Commons license. This means that the image is to be commercially allowed. Also, it may mean that we have to give attribution, which might be a requirement or not. It means to include a credit line for the artist or photographer. And then finally, we may be able to make modifications or not, so we have to check that out. The last one in the list is you can do your own photography. So a lot of times I go and I do photography of textures and things that if I have a particular client that I'm going to be going out and taking photographs on my own, I might see something I'd like to take a photograph and use it at some point for a project. Common resources for free images, and we'll explore these in just a few moments here. You want to always check to see if the image is available to be used commercially. Google search is something that's a common practice. I want to show you some precautions to take when using Google search. Flickr is also a good resource. It's lots of photographers, commercial photographers or amateurs. And then Flickr Commons is also a portion of Flickr, which is public domain imagery. Morgfile is good. Usually those are up-and-coming photographers. Lost and Taken is another good resource, which is textures and background textures. All Silhouettes gives us usage to or access to vector art, which we can use in Illustrator, Photoshop, InDesign, and the like. Okay, let's go back to the internet, and I've done a search on Google search, and we go under images to get at lots and lots of images. But one of the things that you want to do is go under the search tools right here, this button here, and look for this non-filtered by license as the default. What we want to choose is labeled for reuse with modifications. So that will limit the search to a smaller group of images, which you will be able to or should be able to use. To click on it, you'll get to be able to visit the page that it resides on. You'll be able to view the image, and you may also be able to see what size it is. You need high resolution to start with, as high as you can get it if you're going to be especially using it for different purposes in an advertising setting. Okay, Flickr again is a good resource for us. If we look up some images for like this topic, farmers market, will bring us to the screen with some options here. Okay, we have access to over 800,000 under this topic, and you want to look for this right here. It says any license, and that is the default. Again, we want to limit our search, and we're looking for this one right here, commercial use and modifications allowed. This will limit the search to things that are available for us to use, and in this way we want to take a look at the images in a little bit more closely and choose something that's appropriately sized and we're allowed to use. Okay, this is a little bit easier to find the commercial uses in this, and also to find the sizes. If you go to the right hand side, download this image. If you click on it, before downloading it, you can choose the size, and if it's too small, you want to move on to a different image. Some rights reserved. This is your usage, and you can find out what the rights are. And in this way, it should take you to something called the Creative Commons and find out what the license and limitations are. Here, this picture, we're able to share and adapt, meaning we can transform it or remix it. And then these following terms. You must give appropriate credit, and you can click on these to find out what exactly that means. To provide a link to the license and indicate if changes were made. Those kinds of pieces of information can be included right on the picture, like along the side is at a 90-degree angle, or at the bottom, or in whatever publication that you use. You can put a credit line, and it can be fairly small, but it needs to be prominent and easy to read. Another good resource is the Commons from Flickr. If you were to go under Explore under Flickr, you would see this tab, the Commons. And these are all copyright free or public domain, and there are many participating institutions, including the Library of Congress and NASA. So if we search for something like our farmer's market, these are going to be older pictures, and it may actually lend a unique flavor to your project. And in fact, if we scroll down, you might be getting into some imagery that's more like drawings or old illustrations. Okay, that's unique. Moving on to Morguefile. It's morguefile.com, just so you know. And these are up-and-coming photographers. And if we take a look at one of the pictures, you click on it, and it will tell you your licensing. In this case, we're allowed to copy, distribute, transmit the work, and to adapt. Attribution not required. And one thing that you might notice here, you are prohibited from using the work in a standalone manner. Most Creative Commons license, you need permission in order to do something like sell the picture itself as a framed picture, or something like on a t-shirt, you're selling it because of the picture. Okay, Lost and Taken is a good resource. If you go to their gallery, okay, lostandtaken.com, and you can choose something in their texture categories. These are mainly used for backgrounds and can lend a great deal to your whatever project it is that you're working on. Okay, so it should bring up some images for us to take a look at. Okay, while it's doing that, let's see. Right here. So background textures, you can take a look at their imagery, and they're quite high resolution. Okay, when we get into vector art, here's a nice resource as well. It's called allsilhouettes.com. And watch out for when you choose the imagery to download. It is vector files. And you want to look for the big button. Make sure this is the actual download for what you're trying to get, instead of these big download buttons that are for commercial advertising. Okay, but they have different categories to look up, and you can pick and choose what you like. When it comes to commercial work, if you're working with a client and you want something a little bit more unique and very professional, you might go to a stock house. This one is iStock, and these are royalty-free images and illustrations and videos. They have a lot to offer, and you buy credits and then you use the credits to download your images with. I use this quite often with my clients, and you negotiate with your client a fee for them to pay so that you're not out of pocket. Professional photography, these are very high-end photos. The fee is somewhat high for these, but you might need something exclusive. And that's it for our best practices in searching for images.